ready? Oh, it's Q&A day? Alright. Alright. I guess we'll answer some questions for our fans. What do you think? Yeah? Okay. Ready, get up here, please. Sits. I know. Give me kisses. Morning kisses. Give morning breath. Gross. Gross. I know. Alright. Alright. Let's get comfy, bud. Okay. Get comfy on this couch. We're going to answer some fan mail. These are in no particular order. I'm going to answer the questions you guys gave us. What made you audition for AGT? This is RL Rome. That's a good question. My father passed away 3 years ago, and during that time, I worked with Reckon on tricks to kind of distract me from my grief and kind of the reality of what my life was at that time. He was about a year old, and that's where we were just kind of really getting into some of the fun trick training. And fast forward a year later, maybe season 11 of AGT was out, and I remember watching it, and I just suddenly kind of had this vision, like my dad sent this vision of me on stage, looking out at the crowd, like it was very surreal, like I was there, and that I needed to go out and show people what I had done with Reckon. That like my dad was watching me work with him and was very proud of it, and like I should just go out there and do that and get that memory for myself. So honestly, I auditioned for AGT because it was to honor my dad. It wasn't for fame, and it wasn't to win the $1 million. I never had any thoughts that we were going to win the $1 million. It was really just to get up on stage and kind of see that vision come to life. So, getting on AGT, anything that happened after that was icing on the cake. So my goal was always just to get on the show, and we did that, so we were successful. I would have loved to have gone further than judge cuts, but I'm really grateful that we got the experiences that we did, and we got to get to judge cuts, because a lot of people didn't get there. The Sassy Unicorn asks, will you continue? I had no plans on stopping just because I didn't make it through on AGT. I will continue working with Reckon on tricks and routines as long as he enjoys it and is physically able to do so. He likes to perform for people. He likes the crowd reaction. And I enjoy it. I like playing with my boys. So yes, I will continue. I can't promise you'll see us on another season of AGT, but that might be something that we try for in the coming seasons. That's still to be determined, but I can't say never. Alright, this question is from Chicken Tricks. It's, if you trained a different type of animal, what would it be? I've trained cats for commercials and print ads, as well as dogs. But if I was going to work with a different animal, it would probably be either my chickens or maybe my rats. Got some of those too. Okay, Border Collie Dash asks, if you had to choose between dock diving and agility, which would you do with Reckon? Probably would choose dock diving because he does like to jump, and he loves toys, but he would have to learn how to swim first because he doesn't know how to do that. Bentley the Golden Retriever asks, what does Reckon like to do on his free time? This. He likes to just hang out with me and chill. He's very content. If we're not doing tricks, he's usually just kind of by my side while I'm doing other things. He also does like to hang out in the yard. It's kind of hot, so it depends on the time of year how much time he gets out there. But he likes to watch the chickens and guineas running around the yard. So that's kind of his TV entertainment outside, so to speak. Lulu D5 asks, how long did it take Reckon to learn all these tricks? We worked on more obedience and foundation work in the first year. So I would say most of the cute stuff has been the past 2 to 3 years. Addie Shosel, I think hopefully I'm saying that right, says, do you know Sarah Carson? And if so, do you train with them? I do not know Sarah. I've spoken with her a couple of times, but I've never met her in person, so no, I have not trained with her. But of course, if given the opportunity, I would love to meet her in person. She's really cool. Everybody knows that. Do you live in Texas? Daisy the dog asks. Yes, I live in Texas. I do not know why I'm wearing a fleece onesie in the middle of July, other than it's cute and I had nowhere else to wear it to. But yes, I live in Texas and I am in the Dallas area. I grew up in San Antonio. When did you start training dogs? From Maylee Daly. In 2002 is when I started professionally training dogs, and I've been doing that ever since. I got into search and rescue in the year 2000, so I've been training for quite a while. What's your favorite trick Reckon knows? From Grace Photographer. I actually hadn't thought about what a favorite trick might be. There's lots of them that I like. I think my favorite sequence right now is the reverse bow yoga stretching kind of sequence. Reckon really likes that. It's always a crowd favorite because, I mean, he's sticking his butt in my face, so, you know, I don't know. It always gets a lot of laughs, so I think I like that one, and Reckon loves to do it. You usually will see his little tail wagging pretty fast when he does that trick. Easy to train, the Wonder Aussies. Reckon's pretty easy actually. He knows the process of training and he understands when we're learning something new. He's, you know, we have to figure out what that is, what is on my brain, and he's pretty quick to figure things out, and then he gets really excited that now he knows something new. What's hard for him are certain tricks that are really physical for his body. He doesn't do really well with things that require a lot of flexibility and balance work. Those are things that we're constantly trying to improve on. He's just a big, 80-pound dog. He is pretty stiff, I would say. He's just not flexible and bendy like the Border Collies and Aussies, who are real, little Gumbies. He doesn't have that capability. So it can take a lot longer to teach some of those physical type of tricks. My Spaniel Life asks, can you please do tutorials on how to do dog tricks? If you go to my YouTube channel, which you're on right now, on Sardobe, you will find all kinds of random videos. There are some that are more tutorial based on different types of behaviors, where it might be more step by step, and sometimes I'm just showing you the end product. I may not be showing you so much how I got there. You kind of have to look around. I will periodically put up dog training videos, but they take a lot more time to do the step-by-step ones as far as shooting them and editing them. So it just depends on how much time I have, because again, I do train dogs for a living and I'm usually training other people's dogs, so I just don't always have the time to do the tutorial type videos. But every now and then I'll put some stuff up. What's the hardest trick to teach Reckon? My Spaniel Life asks. Anything that has to do with balance. So most of the things where I ask him to do anything like that, I'll allow him to put his feet on me to balance, or like you saw in the pull-ups, he was able to balance a little bit on the bar. That was a super hard trick, by the way, for him to be able to squat up and down while keeping his front feet extended above his head on the bar. Reckon. This is from R.A. Leia. He is 4 years old. Here's Aaron Smith asks, how did I get Reckon? He was born here in this house. I have his mother. She's 10 years old. and I helped her deliver Reckon. Larissa Semchuk asks, how is Reckon's injury? It's getting better. He injured his left elbow here while we were rehearsing, and again 2 days before the judge cuts. It's been an injury that we've been actually trying to rehab for a while, but you know, all the stress of constant rehearsal, it just kept re-injuring it and re-injuring it, and it was just something where basically the joint, as he lands on a jump, he kind of locks his elbows, unfortunately, and so it would just slam one set of bones and misalign the joint. So then when he was trying to bend, he couldn't. He didn't have full flexion. It probably was somewhat painful. He has pain medication for it as needed. He doesn't act like he's in pain. He's not limping. The only way I really know when it happens is that there are certain tricks that might be weight bearing on this particular leg, or that require a lot of flexion in the elbow, that he suddenly will refuse to do, whereas prior to that he was happy to do it. So in the judge cuts, I kind of knew the pull-ups weren't going to go real well, some of the sit-ups weren't going to go real well, because it required him to put weight and flexion on this joint at the same time. So I asked him to do it, and if he didn't do it, then we just moved on. You know, there's nothing I can do about it. It's up to him. Bobo asks, what's your favorite thing about dog training? Learning how to communicate with the dog. When you're working on whatever trick it is and you put it on cue, whether it's a verbal cue or a physical cue, a hand gesture or something, you know, the dog is learning how to understand what it is you're asking, what kind of behavior or movement that you want. I think that's really cool. I mean, I think it would be really lonely if you were in a world where you didn't understand the language around you. And so I think this opens up a lot of doors where you can form a really good relationship and each of you gets each other. I think it brings you closer together. So I think just the communication part of it and learning how to understand each other is my favorite part. My Canadian collies asked, how long have you been a trainer? Kind of touched on this. I've been a trainer, really diehard trainer since 2000, professional trainer since 2002. Anna Lou asks, where did the name Reckon come from? Actually, when I decided to keep him out of his litter, I had another name picked out, and it just didn't really fit. I wasn't feeling it anymore, and I was watching TV and Netflix and kept seeing the same commercial over and over. And I think it was an Expedia commercial, and they kept saying Reckon this and Reckon that. And I finally just kind of thought, hey, that's his name, Reckon. It fit. We're from Texas, and that's how he got his name, was from a commercial. Annalou04 asks, what's Reckon's favorite food, toy, and dog friend? He really doesn't have a favorite food that I know of. He likes pretty much every treat that I give him. He really likes string cheese, so that's top of the list. I make a lot of chicken liver treats and fish treats for him. He likes those. Any jerky treats, he's really into those kind of things. Hot dogs, those are always a winner. A toy, he likes stuffed animals a lot, and he likes tug toys, and he does like playing with balls. So he doesn't really have a favorite toy either. He really likes playing tug of war and anything that is interactive with me. So I don't think it's so much the toy, it's the game. He really likes to play with me and playing tug. And his favorite dog friend, I would say it was probably his Aunt Saver. She passed away a couple months ago in May. She was 10 years old, and he spent a lot of time with her. So, I think that was probably his favorite dog friend. Annalou04 asks, did you enjoy AGT? I did enjoy it. I had a lot of fun meeting all the different acts. That was interesting because everybody has such different talents. And I did enjoy the challenge of it. It's a lot of work. I just can't even stress how much work it is before the show and getting your routines ready, even just trying to audition and get on the show. And then when you're there, there's a lot of taping of interviews and different footage that they use in the intro scenes. Things that, they may not even show. There's a lot of footage they got of us that they didn't even show. So yeah, it's fun and I enjoyed it, but it's a lot of work. Annalou04 asks, how many dogs have you owned? I had to actually count because I did not know the answer to this offhand. My entire life, I have owned 20 dogs. I'm actually a little shocked by that number, but it makes sense because I have 12 dogs right now. So I have a lot of dogs. I right now have 3 Dobermans, and we have toy poodles, a Yorkie Poo, a Maltipoo, a Border Collie Lab mix, a Terrier mix. So I kind of got a little of everything. We have dogs that we rescued off the side of the road and didn't find a home for, and now they live here. We have dogs that we got from shelters. I have dogs that I've purchased for breeders, and I have dogs that I've personally bred myself. So we kind of have dogs from all different ways that you can get a dog. How did you get into dog training? From Service Dog Louie. I got into professional training and really getting excited about training when I started doing search and rescue dog training. And that was after the 1999 bonfire collapse at Texas A&M University. 12 students died during that collapse, and there were search dogs that were coming out trying to help locate the victims. And I remember watching that on TV. I had just graduated A&M. I still had friends there, and people, who knew people that were injured or passed away in that accident. And so that kind of hit me personally, and I decided at the time that I wanted to get into that type of work. It's all volunteer. People don't realize that. You don't get paid for being a search dog handler, and you spend quite a bit of your own time and money not only training but then being able to respond. So I had a 4-month-old puppy at the time, which was Reckon's great-grandmother, and I joined a local search and rescue team in Houston and thought, we'll see if she has what it takes. And I kind of never looked back, and so I've got 4 generations of search dogs. Reckon's mom is the last of my cadaver dogs, at least in my Doberman line. My Terrier mix, he's also still kicking. He's almost 14, and he was my search dog as well. Someone asked, how did I get Reckon to kiss me on the cheek, that they were having trouble with that. I actually don't like dogs kissing my face. It's kind of a pet peeve of mine. So I did train that for the show and for cute pictures. I didn't have to put a lot of work into it with Reckon because he likes to give kisses. All I had to do was basically kind of present my cheek and kind of tap at it, and he instantly would go over and start kissing me. And then I basically just clicked and treated that and put it on a verbal cue. But if you were having trouble because your dog doesn't naturally want to give you kisses, I would suggest maybe rubbing a little bit of peanut butter or spray cheese on your cheek. I know it sounds gross. You won't have to do it for too long. And let your dog kind of lick it off your cheek. After your dog gets used to that, you should be able to kind of present your cheek, and you need to put it on a cue, whether it's you pointing to your cheek or saying kiss or whatever is smooch that you want to put on cue, to where you don't have to put any yummy stuff for them to lick off, but they understand. And then as soon as they lick you, you can reward your dog with a food or toy from your hand. So it takes a little bit of work for some dogs, but most of them are pretty into giving kisses that way. Thank you so much for being on my fan page and for asking questions. And I hope you keep following our journey, and I don't plan on it stopping anytime soon. Thanks for being a fan. Hey, Reckon, you gonna wake up and say goodbye? They're gonna say goodbye to you. Ready? You give a kiss? Okay, thank you. All right. Till later. Bye-bye. You're still here? The video's over. Go do something else. I answered all of your questions. Oh, you want to see a blooper? Okay, I have one in the making of this video. Okay, I lied. There was plenty. It's usually my fault not reading the questions very well, but I do have one on Reckon's behalf. Hold on one second.